Hello. I think we've got everyone in the chat. Just let me check. Cool. Hello and welcome to Flutter Scotland. This is going to be our Flutter Festival version of the event. If you've not been with us before, this is a community in Scotland, but since the pandemic, we've been doing online events. Basically, we are covering Flutter today, and I'll go into a little bit more details, but we have some social links here if you'd like to follow us. We've got our Twitter. We also have our Slack channel, which was in the description, and you can add that and then basically chat with us there. I'm going to go through a quick introduction and the news that we have for Flutter Scotland, so I'll just continue on. We do have a code of conduct, so it's a kind of similar one to a lot of the other Flutter festivals. So generally be nice and respectful and constructive. Don't post any rude or offensive content. Don't spam the channel. And don't advertise or promote anything unless you've been given permission. And like in all these other events, any harassment won't be tolerated and you'll be removed from the event. So this is our kind of big update that I'd like to give for tonight. So we've got two new organisers. I'd just like them to do a little introduction. So we've got Dave Connellisk and we've got Guy McLean as well. I think you guys should be able to speak. At least I hope so.
Hello.
Yeah.
Should I just introduce myself then?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm David Conlisk. I'm a freelance Flutter developer. Been working with Flutter since 2020. Before that, I was doing lots of mobile stuff, and before that, lots of web. I'm based in Glasgow, and looking forward to helping out with this Flutter Festival Scotland, and hopefully we can make it into something great.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Guy, and yeah, been a Flutter developer for a few years now. Currently working for a company called Plantific and doing some fun stuff with it. I'm in Scotland as well. I've just moved from Edinburgh to Dunfermline, and yeah, just looking forward to sort of meeting some Flutter developers and some new people, really.
Cool. What I'll do is I'm just going to remove you guys from the stream and then we can continue on. But Dave and Guy will be about in the other sessions. We've also got Dwayne behind the scenes, so he'll also be in some of the sessions as well. So we'll see you guys in a wee minute. There we go. Cool. So what is the Flutter Festival? I'm sure maybe some of you have already been to a couple of the events that have been happening lately. And essentially what Flutter Festival is a way to build beautiful apps with Google Tech. So for this month, we've got some sessions that we can run through. And this is our schedule. So we're going to do basically the intro, which is happening right now. Then at 7:15, we're going to be starting some code labs. What we've done is we've broken those out into different sessions. So we have like a Dart one, we have a Flutter one, and we have a Google Cloud one as well. I'll go into some more details in a wee minute. But then after that, we've got a show and tell, where we will be having Steph Patterson, who will be giving us a little update on some of the things that she's involved in. And then we've got a giveaway of Flutter swag. So I'll kind of show a wee bit more details on what that is as well. And then we've got a little bit of a wrap up as just towards the end. So the Code Lab sessions, we've decided to use Hopin to moderate and help facilitate these sessions. I'm hoping this is us trialing out this software just to see what it's like, and maybe in the future we might be able to do like hybrid events with this as well. We've got one moderator per session that should help if you want to share your screen and basically generally moderate the chat and things. There's a little bit of setup as well. So like if anyone, like a minor bit of setup, you don't need to have Dart installed. You don't need to have anything installed. It all works through the browser. And we've also got a kind of two chit chat, I'm calling them sessions. And that's if you want to take a break or if you just want to hang out with some people and chat some Flutter stuff. So these are free. Normally they are, I think they cost credits, but they are free right now with Flutter Festival. We only have an hour, but you will be given these credits that you can use at a later time. So if you want to complete it later on, or if you want to do a different session, like say you start the Dart one and then you're like, oh, I think I could maybe do the Flutter one, you could do that. And you also get a digital badge at the end to show that you've completed it. So there will be instructions in each of the sessions, but this is a kind of quick overview of how you get the free Code Lab sessions. You'll basically open up a URL that's at the top of the session once you enter it, and then you'll enroll in the quest and take the lab. After doing that, you'll basically have the credits onto your account. If you need help or if this doesn't work, if you ask the moderator in your group, we can get that set up. And we can also, there's a couple of other ways that we can get it working as well, but any issues, let us know, and we should be able to help. So I'm going to go and kind of say what ones we have. So we've got the Dart Essentials, and I'll be running that one. I'll be, moderating that one. It basically goes over the fundamentals of Dart and gets you up to speed with what Dart is like and how you would use it. Following on from that, there's a Flutter Essentials one where you build a simple app. That will be moderated by Guy. And then we've got Flutter Development, which will be moderated by Dave. That one's a little bit of a more involved app where it uses Firebase and some other things for authentication and API connections. And I just realized we've got a typo here. That's not a Dart Essentials one, but we've got a Google Cloud Essentials one, which Dwayne will be moderating. If anyone's not in any of these ones, moderators might change into different groups. So just in case, just message if anyone's not there. Whoops, that's the show and tell that we'll have later on. So if I just stop it roughly about here. Yeah, so Steph will be coming in later on and basically going over a couple of new things that are potentially happening at Ray Wenderlich, and she'll also be talking about Flutter Sisters, I think that's how you say it, and some other things about the Ray Wenderlich kind of process that you could maybe join. I think I've actually went a little bit quicker than the time, which is okay, but that kind of just gives us a little bit more time for the sessions, I think. So what we can do is we can stop the main stage here, and then we can start delving into the sessions. So if you make your way to the sessions, we should be able to see you there.
One hour later.
Cool, I'll maybe just give it a couple of minutes until everyone's kind of joined back in. It's quite hard to see who's who's in the main stage or not, but I'll give it a couple of minutes and we should be able to see what's going on. Actually, I can check all the sessions. Yeah, we've still got a couple of people. Cool. Okay. All right. I think that everyone should be back now. So we're just going to do a wee bit of a show and tell session. So this is something that we've kind of started using at Flutter Scotland, and it's just to give people the opportunity to kind of speak about stuff that's going on in the community. We've got Steph Patterson, basically from Ray Wenderlich, and she also co-manages Flutteristas as well. But I'll maybe pass it over to her. I'll add her to the stream, and
Hi.
can maybe do that. Yeah, cool. So what we can do is I'll hand it over to you, and will I just start sharing the slides, or are you able to control that?
I won't be. because I'm a guest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to control them.
No problem. If you just tell me to go to the next one, I can.
Okay.
I can do
Awesome.
that.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. If you'll jump down to the Flutteristas, which I think is slide 20. My name is Stephanie Patterson, and I am in Portland, Oregon, on the west coast of the USA. And I am a co-manager of the Flutteristas. And some people may have heard of the Flutteristas, some people may not. So if we can go to the next slide. The Flutteristas is a worldwide community of people whose gender identity is either female or non-binary and have an interest in Flutter. There's no requirement on experience. If you're brand new, no problem. And we try to have monthly meetings. We had some time off during the holidays. And we try to have people come in from the Flutter community to present to the Flutteristas. Sometimes we're able to have public Flutterista meetings. And I post those on Meetup, like this one. I posted for Flutter Festival Scotland on our Flutterista Meetup page. So it's a joint. So people who follow us that may not follow Flutter Scotland at least are aware of things going on. And so we do have closed meetings that are for people who are part of our community. And we have members of Google that come and present. People, we had someone from the company last year. And last year, in April, we had a Flutterista conference, which was put on by Flutteristas, and it was hosted by the Flutter community. And our slides are still out there if you have access to the Flutter community YouTube site, which it's access. Everybody has access. Sorry about that. Anyway, so if you're interested, go ahead and go to the next slide. If you are interested in joining Flutteristas and you identify as a woman or non-binary and have an interest in Flutter, and you agree to the code of conduct, which we'll have on the next slide, which is Google's code of conduct that they used at Flutter Interact in 2019, you can go to flutteristas.org, and there's a form that you fill out, and we go through and we check social media. So make sure you put your social media on there and make sure that it is people who do meet our criteria for joining. And then you're added to our Slack channel, our calendars, and variety of things. So we have grown significantly, especially during the Flutter Apprentice Book Club. We had a lot more people join, like over 100 have joined since then. We still have some that are pending. It takes a long time for us to go. We're all volunteers, so it takes us some time to go through. I've had people divvy up to be able to screen all of the applicants because we just don't let anybody in because we want to make sure that if it's nothing against men, we just need a safe place because we have people from societies where women and non-binary are treated really horribly, and we need them to have a safe space. So we do our due diligence to make sure that people who join our community abide by our rules. And if they don't, then they're basically kicked out of the Flutteristas. And I also work closely with Simon and Scott from the Flutter community. And if I tell them that somebody's violated our code of conduct, they'll wipe you from everything. So be nice is basically what we want. And so that's just basically what I wanted to talk about with the Flutteristas. We're hoping to expand our community. We now have someone from every continent except Antarctica. So if you know anybody down there, it'd be awesome. Anyway, the next thing I wanted to talk about is, now if you go back to the top, sorry about that, I put them in the wrong order. I am on the Flutter team at raywonderluck.com. And I was part of the Flutter Apprentice book. I tech edited it. And it was awesome for all of the people who were able to participate. It was fantastic. And we have an upcoming book coming on that I can't give any details about, but it's on Flutter animations. And what I'm really interested in knowing is, are there things that you want to know more about Flutter animations? Is it, is there something you haven't been able to figure out, and you want more details, or there's an advanced topic? So the book is an intermediate book. The expectation is that you at least have the knowledge from Dart Apprentice and Flutter Apprentice. So you've got some working knowledge of Flutter. We won't be talking about how to do the various things in Flutter because the initial things, but we're definitely looking for people who have things they want to know how to do, from a bouncing ball to various things. We currently, this book is, it's our first one. And so like 3D is out right now. It's out of scope. But if there's something that you're interested in, please ask questions, let us know, because I definitely would like to take those notes and be able to get back to the team. We have already got our proposal is done. And what we're doing is our outline. And if there's things that are specific, we can definitely make some changes and things like that. So it's really something that we're hoping that people are interested in. So I'm assuming this is being streamed on YouTube. Is that right? I'm not sure. And so if you
so it's not being streamed on YouTube,
Okay.
but we are going to share the recording.
Okay.
So we should be able to send
Awesome.
that out straight
Okay.
after. Sorry.
So is there a way for people to ask questions, or do you want me just to have them send them to me on Twitter, which my Twitter account is listed? I'm not sure how you guys are set up.
Yeah, what we can do is like people can ask in the chat, and we can like copy those over onto
Okay.
this stream. So if
Okay.
anyone has any questions, we can ask them there. And if there isn't, I'll share your Twitter details so that
Okay.
people can get in contact with you.
Awesome.
We might also, I don't know if anyone in the Flutter Scotland team might have any questions about animations that we could maybe kick off with. But if we don't, I can think of some that I've done before,
Okay.
some
That'd be
animations.
Okay.
I don't know if this is kind of going into the 3D part of it, but we had like animations that were on, it was basically like on a canvas. So it's like
Okay.
there's like a type of there's a type of widget that basically lets you draw like on a canvas. So like we had that as basically a fridge layout, and we wanted to add animations onto that. I don't know if that would be something that the book would cover, or if there's if you've ever heard of people doing that kind of thing. It wasn't necessarily a widget, but it was
Right.
like drawing to the canvas.
Okay. I definitely can take that back. Because of the stage that we're in, I can't say yes or no if it's in there, but I can
Oh, yeah.
definitely take the information. It's definitely the kind of thing, there's going to be like a hi mom kind of thing with animations. It's like you have the very basics and then, definitely go on, because I did say it was an intermediate book. But
Yeah.
that's definitely something that's really good to
Cool.
know. So one thing I have a question on is when you were doing it, did you build your own widget, or were you using Flutter things that were built in? Or how did you go about doing it?
So we did a combination of both. We built our own widgets and did basically, I think it's like keyframe. So we did that, and then we also used some of the built-in animations as well. There was like drawers that came over, so we kind of like used the built-in ones of those. But yeah, it felt like a lot more custom than kind of normal.
Okay.
But yeah, that was just something.
I am really excited about this book, and actually the whole team is very excited. And we have a global community that are global set of people working on it. We've got authors and then tech editors, and then I'm final pass editing it, which is basically, and we can go into, if there ends up being no questions, I can talk about my journey and how I got on the team. Just as a shout out, we are looking for Flutter team members for our, looking for authors and people who have tech editing experience. To become a final pass editor, it's promoted within. So you have to start out either as an author or a final pass. You have to be a tech editor before you can be a final pass editor.
Would it be best for people to contact you directly, or
go ahead. Let's go ahead and go through the slides, because I have some of that in these slides.
I did see that Dave's joined, but I don't know if he has a question. Do you have a question, Dave? Or no, he doesn't. Okay. Cool. Okay, we'll go through the slides.
Okay. Go ahead and go to the next one. There we go. So if you're not familiar with raywenderlich.com, please go, because it's not just Flutter. There's Android development. There's server-side, iOS, and there's a lot. And our Flutter pillar has been growing. And when Google recognized our book and wanted to sponsor it for everybody for 3 months free across the world. That was huge. And so our people's interest in Flutter has grown a lot. And so the big thing is that we are a friendly and supportive community that's worldwide. And but there's also video courses and various things like that. So there's some things that are subscription based, and there's something, the articles that are out there, the articles are free. And then there's sections of books that are also free. So basically, if you love to learn and share, come join us and look at our articles and see if there are things that are out there, as well as our books and things like that. So we can go to the next slide. So a little bit about me. I am not a mobile developer by trade. I am actually a SQL database designer and programmer. I've been working with it for over 20 years. I do mentoring and I write a lot of documentation. My first iPhone was a 3GS. I got it for work. And as soon as I got it, I'm like, okay, I really want to figure out how to do this kind of stuff. And so I was excited about when the App Store launched and we were able to see how people were developing mobile apps. Go ahead and so I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey. If people have questions, just let me know and I'm happy to stop. So I'll go ahead and go to the next slide. So how did I get asked this a lot. How did I get on the Ray Wenderlich Flutter team? Well, when I started my mobile development back in 2013, I was starting with iOS. And I'll go ahead and go to the next slide. And so I tried and dabbled and things like that. And then I lost my day job. And while I was looking for SQL work, everybody wanted C# and Objective-C. And I decided, well, if I'm going to learn another C, then I'm going to go with the mobile development. I could read C#, but actually just sitting down and cranking out the code is not something that I could do at that time. And this was in 2013. So one thing that was interesting is I went to the library and I got a lot of books on them and just started learning. And then I stumbled, because I did a Google search, and I stumbled on raywenderlich.com and fell in love. So go ahead and go to the next slide. The articles, I found the articles easy to read, and they gave the right information that I needed. It was all consistent depending on which article I'd go to, and just trying to learn. And I started buying their books and buying more books and buying more books. And it was pretty awesome because they were all digital. And one thing that was really great that I liked is if there was a new update, I was able to get a new update of the digital book for free. It was great. Next slide. And so eventually I did find a new SQL job. And so then I started working on my mobile apps in my spare time. I'd go to the sunroom when I was on my lunch break, and I would be in there working on learning and doing various things with my mobile development. And I looked at YouTube videos, I bought Udemy courses, and was just trying to learn as much as I could. I knew no one. I didn't know, we didn't have these type of communities, at least if they were, I didn't know about them because none of my friends were interested in doing any of this. So it was like I'd work so far and then I'd get stuck and I couldn't find the right answer. And so then I'd start something else. So I've got 10 apps that were in process when I went back to my day job. Next slide. And so when Swift started, I could read it a lot better. I have dyslexia, and so the square brackets and Objective-C were very hard for me to follow. It just, everything ran together and it was really hard. So when Swift came, it was much easier, more familiar, and so I was able to go from there. And I created my very first app for the iOS store, and I based it on training that I had learned from Ray Wenderlich. And then my Android friends were like, why can't I have this? Like, I can only learn so much for different things. And so I made the decision, plus since I was an iOS user, I stuck with iOS. Then it's because I had bought Udemy courses, which included some from Angela from London App Brewery, I received an email saying that they had created a Flutter course. It was not on Udemy yet. And so if I was interested, I could buy it. So I did. Next page. And at the beginning, it was so awesome. I fell in love with Flutter, and it's all I want to do for mobile development. I talked to my friends. I'm like, hey, you can do this. Because when I started when their course was started. So it was May of 2019. And I could write some code and it was there. I could put it on an Android device or an iOS device. I was in heaven. And so I told my friends about it and said, hey, I'm going to try and convert my app that I had. I had a game in the iOS store. I still haven't converted it. It's still in process. There's some graphics with it, so I still need to figure it out, which is another reason I'm really stoked about our book. I'm hoping that there are some things that I'll be able to do in it. But I created my first Flutter app, and it is in both the iOS store and the Android store. And all my friends who were in both worlds, they were happy because they didn't have to go without. So it just Flutter helped me with that. Next slide. So then in August 2019, Ray Wenderlich started releasing their Flutter content. I was so excited and so thrilled. Well, as I was reading, I found that there were some articles that I wanted to know more about. And so I wrote to the author, who happened to be the article team director. And after we had a few conversations, he asked me if I wanted to try out to be a tech editor. And I did. And it was an interesting process. Basically, there was an author who wrote an article, and I had to go through it and follow various steps. And they were very patient because, of course, I'm still learning their process. Next slide. We'll go to the next slide. And I'll come back to the steps that's coming up, sorry. So there are a whole bunch of different roles that are part of the raywenderlich.com community. We have article authors, tech editors, English language editors, as well as Final Pass editors. There's team leads. Then we have book teams that have those same roles. There are podcasts and we have video teams. And so there's multiple steps. So it's not like you just write something and it's published, or you record something and it's published. So that photo that's there was the team members at the time that the picture, it's grown since then. Next slide. So as part of my tryout, so there's a pre-tryout, and if you're doing any writing or editing, you have a short test that you go through, and if you pass that, then you go on to the full tryout. Because I was trying out for a tech editor, I'm going to talk about that process. Some of it's very similar for authors as well. Next slide. The biggest thing that's very important with all of our tutorials, regardless of the platform, articles, books, videos, all of that, they have to have cred. They have to be correct, readable, educational, and deep. So that was the first thing I learned. Next slide. Now, we don't really rush everything. So to maintain the high quality of content, there's a team guide for every individual role and things that are expected in very detailed steps. I can't share all of those details here, but it's basically, you're going to see a few steps in the next few slides to understand that. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So basically, we keep track of all of our work on Trello cards, and I've taken some screenshots of what we have, and it basically from left to right, top to bottom, it's each of those different steps that, so if an author, they have to put together an outline, here's what they're planning on talking about, and then the team lead, Final Pass editor, they go through it, make sure that everything has met the specific criteria from those team guides, and then the author will provide a sample project. It's checked. Then they do some writing, and as that they go through and they write their article, And as soon as they're done with that, the Final Pass editor goes through, does a quick skim to make sure that there aren't any glaring issues that it needs to go back. Then it moves on to the tech editor. They go through and they follow all their big, long checklists to make sure all of this, and so on and so forth as it goes through the book. Through the article, it's basically the same steps. There's different time frames depending on what you're doing. Next slide. So my journey, I did my tryout in December of 2019. I joined the team as a tech editor in January of 2020. I was offered a position as tech editor for the Flutter Apprentice book in May of 2020. We published in June of 2021. So things can take longer. Now, part of our delays were they came out with the March announcements in 2020. So we wanted to make sure that we were as up to date as possible. And then I was asked, because of the quality of work I'd been doing, was I interested in becoming a Flutter Final Pass editor, so for the articles. And I started that in August. I did an occasional article while I was still working on the book. My main focus was on the book until we were done. Then in November of 2020, I was asked to join the quality review team. And so basically what happens with that is, so when the first part of the book is done, it's given to people who have different roles in the group. One thing I need to make sure, you're not employees of Ray Wenderlich, you're self-employed, you're a contractor. So anyway, you get the books and you go through them and you provide feedback, and then the authors can take it then and look at it. They go through it, as well as the Final Pass editor and all of that. They take a look at it, and then they make updates where necessary. Then just this past January, I was asked if I wanted to Final Pass edit a new book, which is the Flutter Animations one. And so we're just starting out on that. We've submitted our outline and proposal, and we have to wait. We're expecting things to come back and ask us to make some changes and things like that. So we're still at the beginning. Next slide. So if you're interested in joining the team, anyone is welcome. You can subscribe to the raywenderlich.com newsletter because they'll be having recruiting announcements. And then if you're interested, you can send an email to apply@raywenderlich.com, and feel free to mention that you saw this presentation and refer to me. And then that way I'll let my team lead and things know. You're also welcome to reach out to me on Twitter, which we'll go back to my contacts shortly. But anyway, I just spilled hot tea. Wow, nice. Okay, next slide. We've talked about the Flutteristas, so we can skip forward a little bit. Go back one. There's my contact information. My LinkedIn's there, my Twitter. I also help manage some of the Flutterista posts on Twitter and LinkedIn as well. We have a group of Flutteristas that help with our social media and do that too. Next slide. So I've also put in a link, raywenderlich.com/Flutter will take you to all of our Flutter content. You can follow Ray Wenderlich on Twitter, the Facebook, and then our Discord. So we have a Discord that the whole community is there. So we have all of the different subject matters of our various tutorials, as well as people from the team that are there to answer questions. Next slide, I think, says, are there any questions? Oh, so are there any questions that are out there from anybody? Again, you can reach out to me or the Flutter team at Ray Wenderlich.
Cool. What we can do is, I think there might be questions coming through, because I've realized that they come through quite slowly. But thanks for giving us basically a good overview of what happens at the Ray Wenderlich and the Flutteristas as well. I'm quite looking forward to the book coming out as well. And we do have a couple of questions that I just seen that were coming through. So we've got one. I can maybe put this up on screen. So I'm not too sure if I'm going to pronounce the name correctly, but Saba, maybe. He's asking, are you using Rive? I also seen that Keelan was also asking for that as well. So in the book, is it going to be Rive or Lottie, or what's going to be used?
We're exploring all of them. We have discussed Rive, and I am familiar with it. I can't go into any details because, one, I don't have all the details, but it is something that will be included, assuming that all of the plans lay out. But I'll definitely make a note that there is definitely interested in that and Lottie.
Yeah.
Just so I can take that back. Because I know that, especially with the Rive team, and I'm not familiar with Lottie, but I am familiar with Rive. And I know that the authors, as well as the tech editors, are also familiar with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely one of the popular ones out there. I've used Rive a little bit, and I think Lottie's also got quite a lot of popularity around it as well. Can maybe see if there's any other questions. I think there was another one from Saba as well, but this is maybe... Oh, somebody was... he's basically asking, I'll put it up on the channel. If you had a link to the app that you were building.
Oh, if you go to geekmespeak.com. So if you go back to the slides, there's a link, and on there is a link to both stores. So back 2 slides. That top URL, my website, you can get to them from there. And if you have any suggestions for the game, I am in the process of updating it. Just be gentle, please. Be gentle.
I'm sure you'll get... everyone gives 5-star reviews.
Yeah, I've had those. I had one person not on one, but I have no idea what was wrong because they didn't put a comment. So always put a comment.
I think... I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly again, but Saba, I think he's got one more. I think he was... I think he was mentioning me for that one. We didn't use Rive or Lottie in the one that I was using with the canvas thing, but I think it would have been a good idea to have used that in the end. Yeah. Let's see if there's any other ones. Oh. Yep. Just got another question. Sorry.
Nope, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
There we go. So are any of the games open source?
Mine is not. The books that they have, the ones that I started with, so the game that I modeled mine after was part of the book, and so it was part of the book content. So if you were to subscribe and have or bought that book, it was the 2D Games by Tutorials, I think is the one that I built mine off of. And I made some changes, and what I have planned, I've been working with Simon Lightfoot on doing my conversion to Flutter because, well, he knows everything. And like I said, I'm a SQL developer by day. I can do the editing and I can do all of that, but I'm nowhere near his experience. So if you're watching, Simon, hey, I know I need to get back to you.
Yeah, he's very experienced. I think there's not many people that has his level of experience.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I contracted with him for a few months last year before I found my new day job. And I learned a lot just watching him code. So like when he was at Flutter Vikings, the zombie thing that he presented, I was watching him at the beginning of it, and I'm just sitting there, my mind is blowing. So yeah.
Let's just check if there's any more questions.
Okay.
Yeah, if you just put the questions in the chat or the Q&A, I'll pick them up from there. I had one just kind of round about the Ray Wenderlich. What level of experience do you need to like apply to that? So with people with like kind of junior experience but like a lot of writing skill, are they okay to apply, or what's the balance?
Basically, so there's the initial tryout. So personally, I don't know what that is because of how my invitation to try out was. But if you're interested, apply. That's all, if you can get out there and if you can prove yourself, then you can move through the process. If you are completely 100% new in Flutter, I would recommend getting more experience. Basically what happens is you're going through, and if for some reason you don't pass, you can try out again in 6 months. So, there's specific criteria. One thing that I will recommend is if you're going through, because when you try out, you have access to the guides. And I highly, highly, highly recommend you read them and you follow them. And not just when you're doing your tryout, but also when you're doing your actual work to be published. And you do get paid, by the way. Yeah, you get paid. There's different pay scales depending on what you're doing. And you get commissions, and you get commissions from the books and things like that too.
Cool.
So I'd say just try out. I mean, it's especially for Flutter. I don't know if the other teams are looking. I do know that we need some more Flutter people, especially if you're experienced and you're not wanting to write articles and you want to try out to be a tech editor. If you've got editing skills, then and even if English isn't your native language, but you're fluent, then you can apply for authors and the tech editors. We do have a standard grammatical that we use for things. So definitely apply.
Cool. Okay. I think that might be us for time there. But if anyone has any other questions, I've posted Steph's links in the chat of the event. And if anyone needs to contact her about any other questions, we can get her there. Cool. So I think we're going to move on to the kind of giveaway section.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. You're also, I've put your name in the giveaway as well, so you never know, you might win.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, I'll get that set up now. Here we go. So that was great. Thanks, Steph. So this is the giveaway part that we've got now. So we do have 5 tote bags, 5 t-shirts, 1 Dash cookie cutter. And if anyone wins that, I want to see your cookies on Twitter or anywhere, just so I can see what they look like. And we also have a large Dash that I think everyone will be excited to get. So what we're going to do is, this is going to be a bit, hopefully this works okay. And what I'll do is I'll make it bigger. So what we have is a spinny wheel. The people in the background have added everyone's name that have attended the event. And if I can find this, there it is. What we're going to do is we're going to spin it, and it will pop up your name. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the tote bags first, and then we'll work our way up to the Dash. And what we'll do is, just let me get this set up. Yeah, so we've got 5 tote bags. So these will be for the tote bags. So I'm going to spin the wheel now. It might play sound and it might be loud, but hopefully it doesn't scare anyone too much. So here we go. Well, that is quite an announcement, but congratulations, Lisa. You have won yourself a tote bag. And it will also come with 2 stickers that look like this. There we go. So you'll be getting these as well. We'll be sending you out a link. So we've got your email address, and we'll send you out a link for that later. So what I'll do is I'll just set this up again. Sorry, here we go. So this will be for another tote bag. So, congratulations, Nardine, you've won yourself a tote bag. So let's spin the wheel again. I don't think this music is going to tire. So Shane Kearney, you've just won yourself a tote bag as well. What we'll do is we'll run through all of these, and then if we've ran out of people, we'll keep going with another set. So that's Shane. This is for the last tote bag. Ideal for getting your shopping. There we go. So Cristiano, you have won yourself a tote bag too. Okay, so now we're moving on to the t-shirt. So we've got 5 t-shirts. I think they're Flutter Festival t-shirts as well. So I might be wrong in that. They might actually just be Flutter ones, but I'm thinking they're Flutter Festival. So here we go. Ho-ho! You just won yourself a t-shirt, Don. Let's go again. Hey! Steph, you've won yourself a t-shirt as well. Sorry if I'm shouting. The music in my end is very loud, so I don't know if there's a way I can turn that down. Okay, let's go again. We've got 3 more t-shirts. Congratulations, Graham. You've won yourself a t-shirt too. Okay, so we've got another 2 t-shirts to go. Savage, you've won your t-shirt as well. Okay, let's go. Congratulations, Gabriel. I've seen you were doing a lot of hard work in the session, so it's paid off with a t-shirt. I think that is us on 5, so we're now going to move on to the cookie cutter. So I will be taking note of this and seeing what cookies you make. Let's have a look. Congratulations, Carson. Congratulations, you'll be having a Dash cookie cutter. So I'll be definitely taking a note of that name. And now we've got the large Dash for someone. So let's see who's the lucky person. There we go. So Mahesh, you've won the Dash. So there we go. Sorry if anyone hasn't won anything. I'll just remove that one. And then if we go back. Oh, actually, I think we might have one more tote bag to give away. So just when you thought you might not have won anything. Let's see. So we should have 5 of those. Yep, so we've got one more tote bag to give away. Congratulations, Gopal. You've won yourself a tote bag. Well, thank you for playing. Let me just change over to this. There we go. So this is us just kind of drawing to an end, the kind of Flutter Festival, Scotland. I'll just move to the next slide. So we generally run our events one event every 2 months. So we're probably looking for like our next event to be the week starting Monday, the 30th of May. It might be on the Monday or it might be later in the week. We're still to decide on that, but we'll be sending updates through the normal channels of Meetup. So like you'll be seeing any updates that we do for that will be in there. I would also, if anyone has any feedback on how this event went, it would be what we could do is I'll share the kind of Slack channel that we have, and if anyone has any feedback on that, they could raise it there. Or if we've got, we've also got a Twitter handle as well, so you can give us any feedback on how hopping went or any of those type of things. And we also have, there's one other place. Oh, we also have a YouTube channel. So what we'll do is we will upload this video as well to YouTube if anyone wants to go back and have a look at anything that was said. But I think that's us drawing to the end. Yeah, we've only got a minute left. I'm also not too sure what hopping will actually do. It might actually just kick everyone out. But this is the first time we've used this, and I hope it's been enjoyable, and I hope the sessions went okay and everyone got their credits. Yeah, and if there's been any problems, just let me know on any of the social media channels that we have. But yeah, thank you for coming along, and we'll hope to see you next time at Flutter Scotland. Thanks, everyone.